do y'all think Pokemon needs some competition? And if so, like where could you get that competition from? Rakeem, you look excited. What's up?
Oh, so it's funny you should mention that because I've actually last year I spent a lot of time looking at like Pokemon alternatives online because there's been a big boom in like indie Pokemon style titles. Like for instance, Tim was one that was heavily like advertised like on IGN, like this
Mm-hmm.
big 3D kind of Pokemon contender. It kind of fell off in popularity after that, but at the time when it came, it's still going on. It's more like an MMO where it's like iterated on over time. But at the time, it was pretty big. And I've noticed like some more games emulate certain aspects of Pokemon. Like for instance, this game that released recently, very recent, like a month or two ago, Koromon, which I've been following, which emulates Game Boy Advance style Pokemon. Like it looks just like a Game Boy Advance style Pokemon game. And I think
Mm-hmm.
um, to give Pokemon more competition definitely would be a good thing. I really hate that Digimon in the game space never hit what Pokemon could do. Because I'll be honest, I was always a bigger fan of Digimon as a franchise with the animation and stuff
Had
than
a
I
better
was
anime.
Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I've played a few like Pokemon turns. Like I have Koromon on my PC and I play a little bit of it. I played it on my phone. It was even available for phone for a demo, and it was addicting. I think games that like kind of emulate what Pokemon did in the past, but refine on it, which is why competition is so good. They'll refine on ideas that Pokemon isn't willing to go there, but they'll go there because they don't have those same like expectations or certain things that have to be in there. They can take certain things from Pokemon and like, okay, that's cool, but let's tweak that. Like they just like Koromon has a completely different take on the shiny system, where it's like you have these different breeds of shiny and like the different intensities is way more interesting than just a traditional shiny system. That's a mild case, but yeah, definitely. I think Pokemon having competition would drive them to try more. I don't know how the hell they're gonna like jumping in now is gonna be very difficult for any new IP to do it. It might have to come from like an alternative from a IP that might currently exist but steps its game up, like a Digimon game, for instance, that finally steps up and like, hey, people are like, oh yeah, I like Digimon as a kid. Let me try this out. But yeah, I agree, and I've been playing a couple alternatives online, and they're pretty fun too.
Uh, Terrence, you was doing some motioning on the camera. I think we both thinking of a very similar game. Would you like to tell us about it?
Oh yeah, Palworld. So okay, as much as the game has been memed and people talking about the whole like Pokemon with guns and everything kind of thing, look, I'll be real.
Yeah.
It looks better graphically. It looks better than any Pokemon game has ever looked. And you know what? I mean, I have to give it respect for that. And it looks, I mean, there are definitely aspects of it that are completely ripping off Pokemon. I am not saying that it is definitely ripping it off, but you know what? Competition is a good thing because I don't think anybody's going to touch Game Freak. Like, don't at this point, Game Freak has been doing this for multiple decades, and you know, Pokemon is a multi-million, maybe even built. Well, we'll just say million. I don't know if it's billion, but
I
it's
think it's got to be close to billion if it ain't there yet.
like Pikachu is one of the most recognizable characters in the world. Like, even if your grandma is like 95, she probably knows who Pikachu is. And so that just lets you know the impact that Pokemon has had on the world. And I don't think any game is ever going to touch Pokemon, like if there is a competitor, but I do think it would be great if we could see more games come out that are like Pokemon and people could play them and see that, okay, this can be done in a different way. And maybe that would hopefully inspire Game Freak to do something different. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like I'm not, like I said, I'm not. I don't think games like Power World are going to like light the world on fire, but it has been interesting to see the press that's gotten, the attention that's gotten from people. I think, despite the memes, I think when it does come out, people will try it, and we'll see how it goes. But I do think that is good that at least they're trying to give some competition because it's kind of like Smash Brothers, where for the longest time Smash Bros didn't really have any competition. They were the platform fighter, and now that it seems like the franchise is kind of done, at least right now anyway, a lot of other developers have stepped up. I mean, of course, we have like games that have been going on for a long time. You have Brawlhalla, you have was it Rivals of Aether? Is that right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Right.
you have that, and now
Yeah.
you have Multiverses that's out, and it looks great. And we just might, just based on like leaks and rumors, we might just get a Power Stone revival. So it seems like now, like there's a bunch of developers that are coming out of the woodwork and trying to claim that crown now that Smash has kind of died down a bit. So I would kind of like to see the same thing happen for Pokemon. Like I don't think anyone's going to top Pokemon, but it would be nice to at least have some competition in the field, because competition breeds skill, and it increases it just breeds skill, and it ups the
Innovation
ante.
is what you were looking for.
What's that?
You were talking about innovation.
Yeah, just innovation. Yeah, it increases the innovation, and it makes people like get off their ass and like actually do better, instead of just doing the same old, same old. And I'm not saying, I guess let me just set the record straight. I'm not saying that Pokemon, like Game Freak, they've been putting out like a bunch of like 6 or 7 out of 10 games. It's like Game Freak, I mean, Pokemon Black and White, when I played the first game, that game was amazing. I thoroughly enjoyed that game. And even though I haven't really played a Pokemon game after that, I'm not saying that these games are bad or like horrible. It's just that I expect more from a franchise that has just captured the hearts of millions, and I just would like to see it go. I think I would just like to see it go to the next level, Like I grew up on Pokemon, and I just feel like I want to see the console RPG that I envisioned years ago.
Mhm.
Look, I appreciate you for doing all that serious talk, but you're not gonna just speed past what you did.
What happened?
You mentioned Smash clones and just said fuck Nick All Stars, huh?
Oh, I didn't. I mean, I just didn't bring it up just because I forgot it.
Yeah, that's
I
the
mean,
problem.
heck, you know what? Hey, Nick All Stars didn't have voice acting, and people memed it. So you know what?
Oh,
Hey,
didn't.
people need to
Didn't have
meme
music
Pokemon as
either.
well.
Nick All Stars coming to PS Plus next week. If any Nick All Star sponsors out there, coming to PS Plus next week.
Hey man, don't be plugging them. They ain't gonna pay us.
They
You can
might,
pay me.
and if they do, I mean, I'll definitely sell out. I need y'all to know.
Hey man,
I
I'll
need every
shield all the way.
sponsor to know. I will sell out to anybody for really any amount of money that's remotely. If it's got more than 2 zeros on the check, I'll sell out. I'm just letting you know. All right. Will, what do you think? Do you think Pokemon needs competition to like get it to where it should be?
Yes, I honestly do, because I say that about a lot of games that are currently out right now, such as our yearly sports titles and our Call of Duties. Someone needs to stand up and make them put something else out. And I'm not saying they need to change the game completely, but someone needs to come out, take what these people are currently doing and freshen it up. Make them realize, oh, we kind of might need to do this now because they're doing this before us and they're doing something better than us. So we need to one up them next to make our game look better. Because I feel like I don't want to say it like this, but I don't want Pokemon to really have the 2K problem, because we don't have live anymore. So
Yeah.
2K consistently comes out, but every year is usually something's wrong with it, or it's just a tiny little minor step up. It's like, oh, we went from just, player models on court to, you can see the sweat. We went from, you can see the sweat to, we put in signature moves from said player. From signature moves to, we're on these courts now. We're on this, we're on that. They keep adding little stuff game by game instead of putting in at least a handful of features each time. So it's like they're taking these things they could do and just dropping them into each game. Just like, we'll put this in this game. We'll put this in that game. Competition needs to happen. And to ask you something, Keem, while it's on my mind, you mentioned a couple of them. Have you ever seen the game Next Summon Extinction?
Yes, I played that
Okay.
too.
Okay,
just didn't
because I
mention it
noticed
this
you didn't mention it, and it came to my mind. I was like,
I had it on my phone today, actually. I was looking at my phone today.
Really? Okay.
I played before.
Okay.
I didn't get deep into it, but I played a little bit of it. Like I said, I was looking at those clones, man.
We was
because,
doing research, y'all.
Yeah, I mean, but in general, like, because I'm not a Nintendo guy, but I'm a PlayStation guy. And recently, like I just said, there's been a big boom of indie games that have like tried to emulate Pokemon. So like, you can play Pokemon alternatives now on PlayStation, on PC, on your phone.
Right.
It's available. So they better be careful.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like Terrence said. I don't think anything is gonna shut your mouth. I know. Calendar. Thank you for letting me know the podcast is on. I'm here now.
Hey, I appreciate you making sure that you were gonna be punctual.
Hey, look, I heard we were gonna be here late, so I had it set for a later time, but we was here earlier, so we here.
Okay.
What you got to say, King? What's up?
I have one final point. I think
Go ahead.
the real problem, maybe the problem Game Freak may be having, this is total speculation, is that once you have a game that its systems and like its formula is like captivating, addicting, and it works, it's hard sometimes to change it too much because you can change certain things and fuck the whole formula without realizing it.
In
Hey,
other
look,
words, if
look,
it ain't broke, don't fix it, kind of thing.
Look,
There you go.
look. I hadn't
Yeah.
answered this question yet. Let's not. You know,
Oh.
I had a whole little thing I was gonna say, and this Rakeem didn't come up with something. And you might fuck around and step on what I was gonna say. None of that. You had your shot.
You're right.
You had your
You're right. All right,
you
I'm
had
gonna
your
back
time,
back.
heathen.
I'm gonna back and let's say it gets eagle on.
Okay.
Go ahead, Sage.
I want to say this to piggyback off of what Terrence said. We do need to put some respect on Game Freak's name a little bit. Just in that, like Terrence said, they're not consistently churning out 6s and 7s. These are consistent 8s and 9s. These are good to great games that are like, if you're a newcomer or if you haven't played a lot of Pokemon, or if you haven't played Pokemon in years, you probably come in there and you have a great time. You have a great experience. And that speaks to the level of polish and quality that they are putting into these, because it's not 2K. It's because 2K is full of bugs and glitches.
That too.
And like, whenever people pick up a 2K, they're like, why the fuck am I playing this game? Even the people who stream it are like, why am I playing this piece of shit? People who stream Pokemon never say that. They still love that game. All right. I mean, like, people who play people who play 2K and people who play Madden, they playing it because they addicted. They can't, like, even though they know it's not good for them, they can't stop playing it. People who play Pokemon play it because they love it for the most part. And then another thing I want to say is you got to be careful with all your changes. COD tried to change. It didn't work. They tried. They had a whole the first 3 games of the PS4 gen were all hella futuristic and shit, and the fans was livid. They was like, "No, let's go back to that same shit we was doing before." And they really specific about what they want too, because not only was they mad at futuristic shit, when they went to World War II, the fans were still mad. They was like, "We don't want this World War II shit." They want a very specific time period of guns to shoot with. They don't want no lasers, and they don't want no bolt action. I got to shoot a nigga with a musket. They don't want none of that. All right, they want 1960. Yeah, they don't want no Bayonetta, and I ain't talking about the Nintendo character. I'm talking about Bayonet. I think Bayonet. They don't want no Bayonet. They don't want none of that. All they want is like 1960s, 70s, 80s guns, maybe modern day gun. That's it. They want the very specific time period, and it's hard to innovate when you have fans that are that fucking fickle. And I don't know how fickle the Pokemon fan base is, and Game Freak doesn't really know how fickle they can be because they haven't really tried. They're not trying to, they're not going to upset the apple cart. These games like Pokemon, was it Sword and Shield? I think it's the second best selling Pokemon game of all time. I think it passed Gold and Silver. It's like right behind Red and Blue. That's impressive because most of them never get that high. So like they're doing what they need to do to some extent. As far as competition is hard. It's hard as a bitch. Like right now, I would say there is no real competition. The thing that came the closest, and nobody brought it up, is Yokai Watch. Yokai Watch tried.
Well, I guess technically because that was more of a Japan thing than it was an American thing.
Yeah.
It could have still been huge in Japan and then eventually come over here. And it kind of did come over here, but it just didn't. But what really got in its way was it tried, but the mistake was it did too much too soon. The franchise was too frequent. Every year they had a Yokai Watch game out. They came out with Yokai Watch in 2013, Yokai Watch 2 in 2014, Yokai Watch 3 in 2015. And it was like, hey, man, we don't want this many fucking video games. Like, you got to let like, Pokemon can do that because it's got decades in the game, but you got to let your franchise grow. What's up, Will?
The biggest thing about that Yokai Watch, I'm glad you mentioned it. Like you said, they did too much too soon. I just thought about it with Yokai Watch 2 and maybe even I don't even know if there's another one out behind that, but they also started doing the double version thing too. They started doing that with Yokai Watch 2. It was 2 different versions. I know one of them had to do with spirits, and the other one said something about bones. I can't remember it, but we have copies at the store, and I seen them. I was just like, this is a thing. And you can also say the same thing for Mega Man Battle Network. It did that. It did good for like the first few games, and then it started doing that double version thing in like the later game.
Yeah, I think
I feel like Pokemon's really the only one that can kind of get away with that, to truth be told.
Pokemon did it first, and then people just kind of liked it because it had a good idea for it. It was like, oh, one game will have these Pokemon, the other game will have these Pokemon. You can trade with your friends. And we're not, that era has passed. Like, you don't need no link cable. People trade online. People play online all the time. And if Nintendo wasn't stuck in the 1990s, they could have like a functional online capacity and people could play online the way they want to and not trade friend codes or whatever the fuck they doing now. I don't know how the Switch system works. So don't make me lie. But like, they could do that. And then you could trade, like, you could find ways to be like, hey, this Pokemon only evolves if you trade it to your friend, and your friend can trade you a Pokemon that also evolves, and that type of stuff. You don't need multiple versions, but Nintendo will continue to get away with that because they're the first to do it, and people who play Pokemon love it. These other franchises, they're not gonna get away with that because like nobody wanted it. Like, people don't really like that. Like, when you look at Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, people look at it, they like, oh, fuck, 2 versions again? Why are we still doing this shit? Like, a lot of people are upset about it. They don't want that. And so like the fact that they're like anybody else trying to do that is destined to make a mistake. Like, especially if you're trying to be a Pokemon killer or even a Pokemon competitor. Like, the first thing you need to do is avoid any kind of you got to get 2 games to get all the collect them all. No, you need one. You get 1 game, just the one. And then after, because like games is $60 and $70. Nobody's trying to pay $120, $140 for no 2 fucking games. Like, in the first place, why can't you just do microtransactions and put some characters in like that? Add in some DLC. Hell, Game Freak could do that if they wanted. They could add in like additional Pokemon through DLC, not new ones, like old ones, like legacy Pokemon. They could add in additional Pokemon through DLC if they wanted. They just choosing not to. It's wild.